Hi everyone, I'm Simon Canton,
And I'm Dave Higgins.
and we're here to outline the the third season, the first episode of the third season. I've done a kind of very broad strokes outline, and Dave and I are going to discuss it. So we'll crack on with that. So I will share my screen and share the document over here. So, we talked in the previous episode about the kind of general broad strokes. Oh, I have to change Clive to Fluffy. This one is. We talked in the previous episode about the broad strokes of the whole season. So this is kind of my first go at the first episode, and then I've left a lot of blank spaces where Dave and I can fill them in. So, Fluffy talks about how his hardware seems to be upgraded in the intro bit. Then, Josie's standing in the middle of a void where we left her at the end of Season 2. Oh, by the way, there'll be full spoilers for Greenstar, so if you haven't read these episodes yet, you might not want to watch. So, Josie's standing in the middle of the void where we left her at the end of Season 2 with all the crew around her when two figures walk up. Two people, this is the quote from the second season, two people walked towards them across the white plain, people she didn't recognize. The first was a pale man with a calculating look in his eyes, the second a dark-skinned woman who appeared to be glowing. So the woman says, welcome to Hyperworld. I figured we needed a name for the world they're in, so I called it Hyperworld, but we can call it anything else if you want. We can brainstorm an idea, a better name.
No, it fits the character, really. She'd call it that.
Like she must know then that it's hyperspace, but I guess it's.
No, well, what would you call it if you thought you were the great guru, but you didn't actually know anything?
Anik World, I guess.
Well, I know if she's good. If she thinks she's good, I don't know if she'd name it after herself.
No, not necessarily.
So yeah, I mean, what does she think the purpose is? Does it have a purpose?
To make everyone happy, maybe, like a kind of a utopia kind of thing. Is there a alternative to utopia we could use in the thesaurus?
But utopia means nowhere.
Does it?
Originally, yeah.
Oh, originally.
That was Sir Thomas More's joke that he wrote this about this perfect place and then called it nowhere.
Oh, right.
Joke that it doesn't actually exist. But yeah, it's been taken to mean.
Oh, I saw Nod meant something else as well. Land of Nod has been taken to mean dreams.
The Land of Nod is where Cain went when he was exiled from Eden, I think.
So that would that not be interesting? That
would be fun.
They take it as kind of being a dream state, but really it means kind of an exile.
Yeah.
Okay, so if she says, welcome to the land of... Josie asks who she is, and the woman says she's Anik. Josie asks who the man is, and he says he's Topic. With, the usual, what are you talking about? You can't be Topic, I am Topic.
Yeah.
You're an idiot kind of thing.
Yeah, I throw in a bit of comedy business, but
yeah. But that's the general idea.
Yeah.
Elijah says, what a cute cat. Josie turns and sees a blue cat approaching. The cat comes over to Josie and wraps its tail around her leg. I'm presuming on the second draft you'll be able to put in lots of cat stuff. We don't have a cat, so
I can cat up the behaviour.
Yeah. I am aware of cats. I've been around cats, but You'd be more the expert. Paul says that Anek's world is kind of boring. Oh, did I? Oh yeah, because they're still in the white void. Anek waves her hands and they're on a planet. Planet is a barren wasteland with hills nearby. Paul complains that the world is kind of crappy. Anek waves her hands again, and then the clearing of a forest with a babbling brook nearby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought if we make it so that inanimate objects take less power to create than people, because presumably you've got limited mental resources or something, so that Anek can make an entire planet, and it's not like that's all her power and then she's done.
Mm.
Josie asks what the place is, how they got there, etc. Anek answers in a very vague manner.
Yeah.
Josie asks how they can get home. Anek says they can go home in due time, being evasive.
The suitably guru answer.
Yeah. So then we switch over to Topic's point of view.
Yeah.
Topic stares around at the crew. He was Loki in the Holotainment Center, but this is different. It feels real now. His body feels weak and unpleasant. When he walks, it's juddery. Then I just wrote, come up with fun things for him to complain about. So he's got all the usual breathing, heart beating, heavy limbs, sweat, I guess. Like, what else would he not be used to? Like, how real is he? Is he essentially a human, or is he a halfway an android kind of, or what do we want to make him? Like the description, a pale man with calculating look in his eyes and a dark-skinned woman who appears to be glowing, makes it seem like they're slightly non-human, but not. They could be pretty close to being human.
Yeah, some other species. So the species you display as is then think what are the computers of the fantasy world?
So
dwarves, some sort of.
All right.
I think sort of if in science fiction, if you've got separate races, giant aliens,
You'd usually have elves as being the wise ones that have been living for an eternity and have all the answers, kind of thing, in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So someone goes and talks to an elf, and the elf goes, "Oh, it has always been thus, and thus it will always be," and you know.
Yeah. So we want to avoid elves because that's potentially a bit too obvious.
Mm.
So have them be something. What else? What else could they be that's sort of human?
So we need something like an oracle, basically, but like in human form. Okay, then we got a lot of stuff for Oracle, the database, because my Google results tend to be about computers. Luna in human form. Oh, it's from Sailor Moon. Ganon from Zelda.
If they're based on, their names are Indonesian, then are there any cool Indonesian things like humans? There doesn't seem to be much. much about Indonesian mythology that I just grab without doing a lot of research.
Mythology of Indonesia. Deities, demons.
It seems that there's a reasonable amount of and they're currently Muslim. Before that, there's Sanskrit. So.
Oh right, my parents have a mask like that. But that's not quite human looking.
Yeah.
I guess most.
There doesn't seem to be semi-human or human-like. Maybe where they're.
Could we say that they have pointed? Like it seems like there's a lot of pointed teeth in the gods here.
Yeah.
Which could then give us some vampire jokes, but then it's daytime, so they're fine and they're not sparkling. So they just have pointed teeth, but there's not. That's all that's different about them. Same as elves are practically humans, just have pointed ears.
Yeah, pointed teeth and don't blink, maybe. Our computers are either on or off. So something with that. Maybe they don't blink because they're always paying attention.
Yeah.
I like pointy teeth because there are jokes in that as well.
Or like I think the subtler the differences are, the better. Like could they have some kind of LED on them somewhere under the skin that's maybe like how about that their eyes, in the middle of their eyes is kind of an LED, so otherwise they look like they have normal eyes but they don't blink and they have a light in the middle of them. Or is that giving you away too much then that Anik is the same as Topic?
Well, I was thinking about that. It just occurred to me that as soon as Topic says, I'm Topic, any differences he has from humanity, anyone else who displays those differences, but the reasonable subset of readers, potentially lots of them, if they've moved through the books at a pace, so remember that there's a second AI, will think, it's another AI.
Okay, so how about this then? The Topic essentially wishes to be human when he's given a form, but Anik doesn't have that whole love-hate thing with humanity. So she wishes to be the kind of godlike creator.
Yeah.
So Topic appears human and essentially is human, but Anik has pointed teeth, doesn't blink, that kind of thing, and she appears to be glowing. So we could say that her skin actually is a light source in some way.
a very weak light source.
Yeah, a very weak light source,
Yeah.
but like.
Yeah, she glows slightly. Yeah.
Okay. Very dark. She could potentially throw a little light on the situation, but not necessarily light up an entire cave or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Topic is 100% human, so he can complain about anything to do with.
What else is he going to claim about? The endocrine system, I suppose. The fact the human body does things because it's a hormonal system as well as a purely neural system. So you'll suffer adrenaline response and so forth.
Would he have a panic attack if he's suddenly realizes that he's human? So he's had like a little while. Well, it's been Josie's point of view. So he goes, wait, I actually am human. Would he have a panic attack, not be able to breathe? And
potentially.
Or is it, do we want to just have him complaining about stuff about being human? Or do we want him to react violently to being human?
Well, his arc is that he decides in the end that he prefers it. So
it's a stronger arc if he hates it at the start.
It's a stronger arc if he reacts negatively at the start, rather than just mutters about it. Because he's been muttering about humanity for 2 seasons now, that they don't really work. So if he's actually now trapped in one, it should be stronger than just they're poorly designed. It's possibly a panic attack or something like that.
So how about he experiments with his body? So he realizes he's breathing in and out, and he tries to stop. And then like he gasps and has to breathe in, and he goes, I am a human. I have all the weaknesses of a human. I can't even remember the 26th of May 3521 what exactly happened at 9:03 p.m. And then he has a panic attack. So then, if Josie came over to help him, that would be even more irritating, presumably. Because Josie is most likely to be the person who notices and comes over to help. Like Elijah could potentially do it, Connor, or anyone but Paul could pretty much. Doc could even say, I noticed that you're having a panic attack, although she probably would be more interested in all the stuff that's going on around. So yeah, Josie is probably the most irritating. Josie would be used to. In the first season we talked about how she had to deal with first timers before. It wasn't just
Yeah.
what's his face. So she'd be used to people having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And would kind of talk him down. Okay. She talks to him, which Topic hates. Topic is hungry and wishes he had something to eat. We might want to change. He's just had a panic attack. I don't think he's going to think about eating. So Paul is hungry and wishes. So he says, "I wish I had something to eat," and a cheeseburger appears on a rock nearby. Paul grabs it and asks where it came from after he's eaten it. Topic wishes for another one, and it appears, which kind of would then show that they all are able to wish for stuff. He tells them all that Anik isn't the only one imbued with superpowers. For more cheeseburgers, people only need to swear fealty to him. Anik conjures up a campfire and 24 cheeseburgers. Topic hates her with a passion. So essentially, Topic trying to take control by saying he has control over wishing. So maybe another 100 appears. So Paul doesn't understand that him saying "I wish I had a cheeseburger" is the thing that's made it. And then Topic realizes, wishes for one, it appears. Yeah. So then Anik conjures up a campfire and 24 cheeseburgers. Topic hates her with a passion. So then we switch over to Paul. Paul finishes his 10th cheeseburger and wonders if he can grant wishes too. After all, he's more intelligent than Anik and Topic put together. So that doesn't make too much sense now that he's... So if he finishes 10th cheeseburger... and wishes for 10 more... So then, Paul finishes his 10th cheeseburger and wishes for 10 more, and they appear. He realizes he can create things too. After all, he's more intelligent than Anik and Topic put together. Imagining a whale walking on hundreds of legs, he opens his eyes and sees it storming through the forest towards them. It's just a random thing I came up with. It's not even a mythology thing. I was just thinking a whale could then potentially vomit up anything. Unless you want to make it something else.
No, I can't. I can't think of. It'd be something that Paul would do because he thought it was absurd, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. So something. So he's going, well, what about a whale with hundreds of legs? And then there is a whale with hundreds of legs storming through the forest towards them. So everyone scatters, staring at the giant beast. Josie asks Anik to get rid of it, but Anik can't. She can make things, but not wish them destroyed. I thought that was also a rule we should have.
Yeah.
That they can wish things into existence, but they can't wish them away. Because otherwise they could just wish away all the enemies and stuff later. The whale reels into the clearing and vomits up a creature with a ram's head and a snake-like body. The creature slithers over to the fire and curls down, turning into a bowl of ice cream, which was the thing we had, the thing that can pretend it's food.
What's it? Yeah.
I forget what it was called. Paul staggers towards it, hypnotized. The creature lashes out, its teeth sinking into his hand. Paul runs off through the forest, screaming in pain. He falls down the slope, rolling to the bottom. When he levers himself up, he finds that he's landed on the creature and it's dead. Essentially, he killed it by falling on it. not through any skill of his own. Paul throws it aside after shaking it to see if it turns into ice cream again. Paul stares at a nearby pile of dirt and imagines a large bowl of ice cream. The bowl appears. Paul thinks he's a god. He wishes for a giant castle on a nearby hill, and the castle appears. Paul goes into the castle and imagines lavish decorations and a big throne. Walking on, he finds a bedroom and imagines a giant four-poster bed. Feeling a little guilty, Paul imagines a dozen nymphs on the bed in various states of undress. The nymphs appear and Paul goes over to the bed. The nymphs coo over him and stroke Paul's cheek. Philippe walks in the door and asks Paul if he remembers how he killed him.
I'm not sure if Paul would be feeling guilty.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you obviously had reasons for that. So why do you think he'd feel guilty at that point, having like stuffed himself on cheeseburgers and so on?
Not so. I guess what I'm kind of going for, what might be more appropriate, is looking around to make sure no one else is there to see. Paul imagines a dozen nymphs on the bed.
Yeah, that works. But he thinks he's sexy, so he wouldn't think it was.
Well, he kind of.
But yeah, doing it in private makes sense.
But he kind of knows he'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was going for, that he'd be worried about getting in trouble more than anything else.
Yeah.
Anyway, so nymphs appear. Then Philippe walks in the door and asks if Paul remembers how he killed him. Paul is startled, and after a moment to recover, says he didn't kill Philippe. Philippe details how Paul did kill him. Philippe tells Paul that the gang's all there. Paul goes into the throne room and finds all of the ex-crew members he helped perish. Which kind of rains on his parade then.
Yeah.
And then it's back to Josie. Josie is staring at horror at the creatures the whale keeps vomiting up. There are all kinds of monsters. I don't know, we can come up with a list, or we can just say that they're all kinds of monsters.
It depends how the episode's going. And if the episode's running short, they can be more running away from monsters. If the episode's running long, then we can just trim it down.
Like, I think, so this so far is probably about 5,000 words, probably. We're about halfway, I'd say. And then I've gone a bit vague here in the next bit, so we'll see. So one of them, which I took from my research stuff, Skyla is a female dragon in Greek mythology with 6 heads, each of which has 3 rows of razor-sharp teeth, charges at Josie and Anik. Gathering up the blue cat, Fluffy. Oh, we should put that in. So the blue cat approaching, Josie says, Fluffy. Gathering up Fluffy. Josie runs away. Josie and Anik run through the forest, getting well and truly lost. They defeat the dragon somehow. This is the very...
Yeah.
Or is
that might need a bit of filling in.
They defeat the dragon somehow, or escape it, possibly through wish power. So Anik and Josie... I don't know if Josie's figured out that she can wish for things. So this could be potentially a way for her to figure it out, that she can wish for things. Or they can defeat it some other way. So if you had a female dragon with 6 heads, each of which has 3 rows of razor-sharp teeth charging after you, what would you wish for to get rid of it? A knight in shining armor, or
a dense forest.
Yeah, so I don't know how big the dragon is as well. We could make it like a whale has vomited it up. So if we're forgetting the fact that whales have very small throats, it could be the size of a car, or it can be the size of a household dog, or it can be.
Well, size of a household dog, while it would actually in the real world be scary, doesn't have that literary fear qualities really. Dog-sized thing potentially.
Well,
But they have to be relatively big. Otherwise, it's going to be comical rather than scary.
so if the whale seemed to be choking, and then vomited up a dragon the size of a minibus.
Mm.
Then that could potentially be changed. If Josie then said, "I wish these trees were a little thicker,"
Yeah.
charges through them essentially, but Josie goes, "Wait a second, I wished for something and it came true."
Yeah.
So then she'd wish. She knows that wishes come through. Oh. Okay. So, what would she wish for? I would think that. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me, at least, is a knight in shining armor is to defeat a dragon. And then presumably the dragon could eat the knight in shining armor.
Well, it depends on Josie's psychology. Is Josie the kind of person who'd want a knight in shining armor, or is Josie the kind of person who think that's a bit sexist? Having this knight ride up and rescue her. I might be overthinking it.
Do we want to... Okay, here's a thought. Do we want to start crossing into other fictional worlds? In that, so Josie could wish for, what's his name that killed Grendel? The Beowulf. So she's German. Beowulf is a kind of Nordic German.
Yeah.
So could she potentially wish that Beowulf was there because Beowulf is meant to have killed the dragon?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Beowulf. So a warrior. So do we want Beowulf to win?
Well, in the legend, that's not the saga. He's killed by the dragon.
Okay.
He kills the dragon, but takes mortal and grievous wounds.
Okay. I've only seen the Ray Winston movies, so I can't even remember that. So he could.
Dies in the Ray Winston one as well.
Yeah, he probably does. It was an okay movie. It wasn't that great, so I don't even remember it. But do we want to end it there with him killing the dragon? Oh, it's got 6 heads. Maybe he kills one of the heads. So he dies from mortal wounds from one of the heads and kills one of them. So now there's 5 left. Which then will give us more stuff to do, because otherwise we're going to end the episode too early. So, or chops off.
I don't know. Kills, maybe? Because then it's dragging it around. Is there something...
Oh yeah, yeah.
About having it drag its dead head around?
dragons knocking off trees and stuff. That would be funny.
Yeah.
So the dragon kills Beowulf. So who else in fiction that potentially we wouldn't get in trouble for using has killed a dragon? St. George?
Siegfried.
Siegfried?
Mm.
Siegfried is Nordic as well.
Yes. Slays Fafnir and eats his heart to gain the power to speak all languages.
Okie doke. So, if Siegfried then...
Siegfried kills Fafnir by digging a pit and hiding in it, rather than chopping off heads.
Oh, that's right, I remember now. So he hides in the pit and then stabs the dragon in its underbelly.
He hides the pit, drags it, and...
So Siegfried then, in a one-on-one battle, would just run away, presumably, to go off and dig a pit.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he could run. He could see the dragon, run, and then maybe later, after some more comedy business, the dragon falls into a pit, and Siegfried emerges heroically from the pit. And so the Josie tears him a new one. Well, you could have explained what you were doing instead of just running off.
Or he claims, like Josie defeats the dragon and he claims credit by saying, "Oh yeah, but I was in this pit underneath. I'm the one that really did the mortal damage." But if she's gonna, I'm worried that maybe it'd be a kind of a series of things she's wishing for. So if she wished for Beowulf and Siegfried at the same time, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You were just quiet. If she wished for Beowulf and Siegfried at the same time, then one sees the dragon and battles it, runs away. So Beowulf kills one of the heads, but the dragon kills him. Then if Josie and Anik used that time to kind of run away some more, like not they could still see what was happening, but they kind of ran up a hill or something.
Yeah.
That gives them just a little bit of time. So then I think they kind of... Josie could wish that she was in armor with a lance or something and a horse.
Yeah.
And Josie tilts at the... So do we want her to then kill another of the heads, or maybe she isn't able to she isn't able to defeat the dragon on her own, so she wishes for another dozen knights by her side, and in her mind then she'd be she could easily wish for female knights. So there's a dozen female knights appear and they all tilt at the dragon. Could do it like that, or
Do we want a dozen or do we want 4?
Yeah, one for each head. So if she tilted the dragon, they take a head each. So then, do they kill the dragon, or do we want anything else to happen?
Well, I don't know. I see if sort of would it be comical if that we killed the one head, so it's dragging the head behind it, knocking things over, and then they kill all of the other heads, and it continues to blunder around randomly.
Yeah.
And then Siegfried bursts out of the ground beneath it and kills the body.
So if they're cornered then against a cliff, just so they don't go miles and miles, in which case Siegfried couldn't have been there. Heads dragging on the ground.
Dragon approaches, disrupting spelling as it comes.
Up and goes, "Hey!" and is throwing his arms wide like he wants to hug everyone that they killed the dragon, and they're like, "No, you're okay there, Mister Covered in Blood." So then we have 4 knights and Siegfried tagging along with Josie and Anik, or do we want them to just say, we must be going, there are more dragons to slay and good deeds to do, or something like that? Like, I don't think we want to end up with every character ending up with a huge amount of sidekicks.
Yeah.
Like, if they heard someone screaming and then all of the knights run off and Siegfried steals Josie's horse, then Josie could wish for another horse, so that wouldn't make any sense. Like, I was trying to come up with a way that they could bugger off for a good reason, and then she would stay there. But if, yeah, they can't. If they steal her horse, it doesn't really matter.
No, what would they take? No, there nothing they could take that she couldn't replace. So
they'd need to tell her to stay, or if she got injured, they could say, "You've been wounded. You stay here. We'll deal with it." Like, not dangerously or badly wounded, but maybe just like.
Well, does Josie have any experience of riding a horse? War horses are A, massive, and B, foul-tempered. So potentially they're riding pell-mell away from the dragon to escape. And they reach the cliff, the warhorse stops, and Josie just falls off the horse. So she sprained her ankle.
Well, not even. She doesn't even need to be injured. If riding a horse is an absolutely horrible experience for her, and they say we must away to there are more people to save and dragons to slay, and not necessarily that someone screams, just they say that's what they're going to do, and Siegfried goes, "Is it okay if I take your horse?" And Josie goes, "Yeah, I'm pretty happy to be rid of him." That would mean then that they'd all ride away, and she'd be left, she and Anik and Fluffy would be left without sidekicks. So yeah, so let's see. Potentially, if we're going to start putting in other fictional characters, we could have, what's his name, Richard II, or is it Richard II or Richard III? A horse, a horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Yeah.
And then a horse just appears in front of him.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I guess we can get pretty silly since it's Greenstar. Or even, yeah. So what? Yeah. Anyway, we'll keep going. So we have the potential of bringing in all kinds of characters that are out of copyright. If they need to solve something, they can have Sherlock Holmes appear. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Siegfried asks if he can have Josie's horse. She's happy to get rid of it. They try to catch their breath, Anik and their breath, and then go back to the clearing. It's hours before they find it. Standing in the middle of the clearing, Seth is waiting for them. So like, what was he? 7, 6? Young Seth, anyway.
How old was he when she left?
I'll have to look it up. Let's see. I can open.
He was going to school. He was old enough to go to school in a clip car on his own, but he was still young enough to be drawing crayon drawings, throwing his cereal all over the place.
I have primary school. 7, but I'm just going to look it up. It might even be in the encyclopedia. Oh, no, Scrivener has to think about stuff. Oh, by the way, during the week I found out what the limit is for Scrivener's word count. It can't deal with 295,000 words, which was how much the Bitter End books are put together. I was going to make like an omnibus edition, and yeah, 295,000 words seems to be too much for it. Anyway, so it's in chapter 1. Her 7-year-old son. 7. So, 7-year-old Seth. So Seth is waiting with him, 7-year-old Seth, and then I thought that was a good moment to end the episode.
Yeah.
People will be going, what the heck? Why does... Like, that's gonna... who was it was saying? Someone was saying in one of their books on writing that you should end things on a symbol crash. So, like, Paul, the last thing we see from him is all the crew members turning up. Topic doesn't really have a symbol crash, but and then like Josie sees 7-year-old Seth, and kind of the audience is going, "What the heck?" Fluffy then is in the postscript is saying is happy that one of the users seems to be enjoying their experience. He watches how Josie embraces Seth and is satisfied. However, he is a little worried about how he seems to have no control over what appears and where. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the end bit.
Yeah,
I don't know, I think...
Does that feel like the right length to you, or do we need to add in some business? Because with the bit with the whale vomiting in the clearing, we haven't done anything with the other crew.
So, we've had Paul running away. So Paul's run away.
Paul's run away.
But
we have Josie, Anak, and Fluffy running away. So the others, either they've already left while we're watching Paul doing his castle, or they scatter, come back to the clearing for some reason.
So, so we can take another character then, if we think it's going to be short, and start their journey. So we've had dragons and knights and stuff, and we've had a castle with Paul. So probably the science fiction. That would actually probably be a good idea, actually, in the first episode to set up the fact that it's not just fantasy, that there's going to be science fiction here, since this is a science fiction series.
Yeah.
So if Elijah ran off and starts creating his Blade Runner, Neuromancer kind of world, maybe.
Yeah. So.
Then I think that's the most science fiction-y kind of world we have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so if we then follow Elijah, and Elijah is creating a completely different kind of world, so he would... So I've got no kind of outline of it, but... So...
Well, we only need the start, maybe.
Yeah, we kind of... Well, we need to get to a kind of a symbol crash moment. So Elijah presumably is separated from Reyna. So...
Yes, we need to know why. How they end up separated.
So if he's on the other side of the clearing from Reyna, Reyna is chased by... So what's Reyna's story? Hang on, close
hunting things over and over again for excitement.
That's true. But what could chase her off momentarily? We can go back to the stuff that we didn't use. How about zombies? So if the whale vomited up a bunch of 5 zombies and Reyna runs off, they're not particularly threatening to Reyna, but Elijah would then think that he could potentially help killing them. Because if it's something like Elijah is not as adventurous as Reyna is, so if it's like another dragon, Elijah might try and help her, but he might be very nervous about doing that. Whereas if it's zombies, he goes, "Hey, I know everything about zombies you could possibly know." Being a geeky guy.
Yeah.
So. Zombies. He knows to shoot them in the head. Elijah goes around the clearing, runs after Reyna. Gets within range of the zombies and they sniff the air, so then they're after him.
Hmm?
That kind of pushes him
Yeah.
in another direction. He runs. He had what? What would be best for some kind of gun, I presume.
Let's see what's is well, the entirety of most of Neuromancer is about a geeky computer guy not really being great at fighting.
Yeah, and then there's the girl who is good at fighting.
The girl who is good at fighting. So maybe he wishes for some sort of cyborg warrior, like Molly from Neuromancer. And then he can suddenly be overcome with guilt.
That he's wished for a cyborg warrior.
Well, Molly and Case end up together in Neuromancer, vaguely, in the sort of fucked up William Gibson, no one has long-term relationships, it's all just short-term gratification kind of a way. So if he gets this sexy chromed cyborg warrior woman, then it's going to be great while she's fighting the things, and then once she's defeated the zombies, he's going to be kind of guilty. Because...
So what if the cyborg warrior is Reyna as a cyborg warrior? But not the real Reyna, like because Elijah would wish for Reyna really to help him. So he wishes for a cyborg warrior, and a Reyna cyborg warrior appears.
It's Cyber Reyna.
And then, since it's Elijah's creation out of his head, presumably he can't tell the difference, because that is Reyna as far as he's aware.
Yeah.
So he would ask... so, if she says she'll show him and then leads him through the forest, and then they come to a city block, essentially, in the middle of the forest, because he's wished it into existence, just not like with a conscious decision.
Yeah.
So Elijah's already got flying vehicles, I guess, is the trouble now. So is he thrilled by the fact that they're old-fashioned flying vehicles?
Yeah.
Because cyberpunk for him would be an old-fashioned kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all the fact it's all clunky and old-fashioned. So.
Clunky flying vehicles. Chinese is usually cyberpunk. So.
And I don't know, we've done that joke for Plankton Station, having things in Chinese.
Oh, that they swear in Chinese. Yeah.
They swear in Chinese. So yeah, so I don't know if we want.
So
I mean, what other nation could become an economic powerhouse that isn't Asian?
India is on the way to doing that. There's 1.2.
That would work. Yeah, that works.
There's 23 languages in India or something. Official languages of India. We could have things in Hindi, but really I think they use English as kind of their common language. Languages with official status in India. Urdu,
Hindi,
Telugu, English, Hindi, Konkani. Like, I think I may be way off, but I think the most common ones are Hindi and English. I think. As common, like, there's a lot of people who have 2 or 3 languages, but kind of Hindi and English are they use most for kind of official stuff and that kind of thing, I think. And maybe Punjabi. I don't know. I don't really know enough about it to say. But like English is kind of popping up in a lot of them.
Well, English is used in a lot of other countries as well as the common language that people communicate in. A lot of the European Union use.
So if we said everything's in English and Hindi, and power.
Yeah.
Cyber Raina takes Elijah where to get his own implants, or like she could say, "You're going to be useless without implants. Come with me. I know a guy."
So she'd take him to a backstreet black market doctor, probably, because that's what cyberpunk heroes do. They never get legal stuff and live happily ever after. They're always like in gritty backstreet clinics.
Of implants would he get? Enhanced eyesight or enhanced strength, or
is he going to go for the data port option, having sort of plug himself into computers?
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Yeah.
We're getting quite close to my other my actual cyberpunk series, but yes. So yeah, so he could get.
Avoid making it too shiny new swindle.
Yeah, I mean, shiny new swindle is not a dirty Blade Runner kind of world. It's a very nice social democracy kind of world.
It's a fine book. People should read it.
Yeah. From what I've seen, actually, it just needs some sequels, and I think people would read it.
Yeah.
I was reading a marketing book. They said sequels are the way to go because then people think, oh well, this is worth investing time in. Yeah. But anyway, that's a sidetrack.
Yeah. So, well, he's already quite strong because he works out a lot. So his body is reasonably good. So yeah, you select the hacker package, and
so he can see the screen basically in his eyes.
Yeah.
He can type in midair. You know that it's as if there's a keyboard there, even though he's typing in air. And he can slow security systems like the freeze. Isn't it freezing or something in Neuromancer? I haven't read it the whole way through, but
in Neuromancer, there are 2 things. There's the net, so you can actually log in as if he were in a virtual reality, and also he can take control of things.
So, if he could potentially have like a virtual modeling system in his mind,
Yeah.
so that he can hold up to 10 devices in his mind and control them. So then Elijah's put out. Monsters random. That's usually the cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a decent ending then for his thing, I think. And then I think we've got enough that it should be. I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, that'll probably work.
And then we've set up as well what's going to happen, that everyone's off on their own thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's 3 distinct kind of things to do. For the outline then for episode 2, since I'm going to be doing that this week, do we want to continue Josie, Paul, and Elijah's journey, or do we want to leave them for an episode and go over to someone else? Do we want to move everyone forward a little bit each episode, basically? Or do we want to deal with everything from Josie and then we kind of rewind time in like episode 3 or 4 or something where we go and deal with other people?
Well, we've got... didn't we have an event listed for episode 3?
Let's see. Let's find it now. Episode 3. Episode 2 or 3. Josie stumbles across the portal. Josie has Fluffy and Anik with her. They find the portal early, but it comes out in deep space. That means the portals can be a way to escape. So they go on a quest to find the portal gun. So that would be a good... It would be good to have Josie, I guess, in the second episode. So let's see.
Sort of like, if we're making episode 3 about the quest for the portal gun, that's an advancement of the whole arc. So do we want to have brought everyone up to that point in the arc?
No, what I was thinking was that so Josie has just seen Seth. So I think people want to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
So Seth leads her off through the forest, and they come to Josie's house. And Josie makes Seth some dinner because he says he's hungry, or breakfast, or whatever it happens to be. And then Seth says, "Don't I need to go to school?" And Josie says, "Okay, I'll walk you there," and sees the portal.
Yeah.
And then ignores it and goes with Seth to school, and then walks back and sees the portal, but ignores it and goes to the house. And cleans the house and does kind of normal stuff, and then walks back to pick Seth up from school, and looks in the portal again, and then we kind of stop it there. So we kind of got Josie in her routine where she's ignoring the fact that reality's there and just enjoying being with Seth. And then so then I think we've kind of, from the fact that we've kind of set up cliffhangers for each character now, I think we probably need to deal with each of those characters in episode 2, and then maybe episode 3 is where we go to someone else.
That could work.
So Josie Polland and... So if we show Josie's thing, and then we show Paul's thing, and Elijah's thing, we can. Josie's thing, I think, would be fairly long, but then Paul and Elijah could be short. So then we could kind of deal with maybe 2 other characters in episode 2. Because Paul is going to try and sleep with nymphs, and the crew keep turning up and saying how he killed them all, which is just completely ruining it for him. Elijah then is in trouble with the mobsters, and then he has to do like a hack into some kind of corporation or something in order to settle his debts, because he needs to pay for his implants.
Yeah.
And then, so those 2, we can kind of set up what they're going to have to do, and then not go any further. And Josie, we've kind of dealt with her whole thing. So then, I don't think that will take the whole episode. So then we could potentially, like take. Let's see. So we got Connor, Doc, Baule, Gina, Raina. Raina might be one to take because she was running away from the zombies, so at least we kind of seen that she's run off. Maybe. So then start Raina's story, and maybe start like Baule's actually might be interesting as a contrast. Like then we have optimism officer as a kind of a matching pair. Yeah, so for episode 2 then we yeah, okay. Paul put off by the dead crew members. Elijah having to hack in for the mobsters. Start off Raina's story of her doing adventures and loving it for a while. And start Baule's story of him creating the most wonderful place in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can outline that. Okay, was there anything else then before I stop the broadcast?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.